Quick, harvest the organs, Coleman. Grab hold of that right there.
Search for an organ donor card. Man, that's sharp.
Get you a bite. I don't know how to butcher a heart, but I've seen people eat them.
Well, we're gonna try it.
Hey, it's the preacher, and don't mind me, I'm just picking up the pieces of a broken heart. You know, they say the owner of a lonely heart is much better than the owner of a broken heart. But I happen to be the owner of a broken heart, and we're going to find out if that's true. If I can put it back together somehow. There it is. There is a deer heart. There's a deer heart. I shot a buck last evening, less than 24 hours ago. It's just now about 1:30. I shot this deer at 5 o'clock yesterday. The first day of my vacation, I have 2 buck tags. I filled 1 buck tag on the opening day, and I punched the second on the first day of my vacation. So now I've got about 8 days of no buck tags, and I'm not going to go walking around in the woods with no buck tags, because that's when El Guapo, the giant, runs up on you, and the temptation's just too great. So what I have here is a deer heart. I've never eaten deer heart. I was raised that you left this in the gut pile. But all the experts today say, the guys that wear face paint, they're the experts. Guys like me, we're just hunters. But all the experts say that this is the best cut of meat on the entire deer. And if you're not taking the heart home and eating it, boy, you're really missing out. So I'm going to go through this just so you don't have to. I'm going to try deer heart and tell you what I think. I've got some green beans over there steaming right now. Put a little bacon grease in them, and I'm going to let them cook down while I dice up the deer heart. One of the things I'll say about a deer heart, there are obviously times when you can't eat the heart. If you hit the heart with your bullet, that would be a bad time. If you gut shot the deer, you may have a lot of stomach matter and other gross stuff that would be all around the heart, and you may not want to try to clean it up. This deer was shot right in the neck, so the chest cavity was as clean as if we were having surgery. You know, I mean, it was, the heart was there, everything was intact. I removed the sac around the heart that holds it in place, and what I did was I cut it lengthwise across the heart. You know, the heart's a long muscle, and I just cut it here and cut it here, and there's 4 chambers in a heart. You know, if you went to basic school and remembered any of it, there's 4 chambers and there's 2 sides. And all I was trying to do was open up those chambers and get beyond those valves so that I could get all the blood. As soon as blood quits flowing, it clots in the heart. So I washed all that out last night. Then I put it in water and added some salt. Salt draws out blood and penetrates the meat. So now what I want to do is take my little Skinner knife that I got from Bob Devers. I can't brag on this knife enough. I have cut up, skinned, and cut up 2 deer with it, and the only thing that I've done to it is about 3 times I went like this to a ceramic stone, or ceramic steel there. So anyways, here's what I'm going to do, and you don't have to watch. I'm just going to be trying to slice this thin. There are some valves in here that you can see. They kind of feel like cartilage. They're tough. I'm going to cut those out. I'm going to cut these big, I think that's the aorta. I'm going to cut those out. I'm going to trim all this up. I'll bring you back when I just have some sliced up heart meat. Now I'm not going to throw this away. I may go catfishing sometime this week, and if I can get some of this real tough heart valve and hang on to it, I may try to catfish with it. So let me get this trimmed up. I'll turn you back on, show you what it looks like when it's all trimmed up and ready to go in a skillet. Alright, let me walk you through this. I got some green beans back here in the back. These are some Kentucky Wonders that we grew in the garden. these don't last too long into winter, so we just throw them in a Ziploc baggie and throw them in the freezer. At the end of the season, I think they've been in the freezer about 3-4 weeks. Anyways, I pulled them out, a little onion, a little garlic. Start out with water in there, just enough, not enough to cover them, but just enough that they're sitting in water, and put some bacon grease in it. And when the water evaporates off, all that's left is the bacon grease. You'll hear them start frying then. The water helps them to cook. The bacon grease gives them the ability to fry and color. This pan's starting to look like it's smoking, and this is what we're going to cook our heart in. Let's see. Yeah, that onion's starting to sizzle. All I've got in here is bacon grease. Let's season this with Preacher's possum salt. It's good enough for possum, but you can put it on anything. And so, if it makes possum taste good, it ought to help this heart. So I'm just going to scatter it around on here. Turn that heat down. We got the skillet hot. Okay, now everything I've been told about cooking heart is that you cook it fast on a hot heat. And so I'm going to throw in some onions because onions make everything better. I'm going to lay down some pieces of heart. These are cut thin. I'll drop in a couple little pieces of garlic. All right, let's give them a flip. They say the key is to cook it medium rare. So I think we're about there, and the onions are starting to look translucent. Let's pull them off and see what happens. My favorite part about a cooking video is this, the testing. I'm going to try a little deer heart just by itself. Honest to goodness, that's really good. I expected it to be tough. The muscle fiber, like when you're cutting up deer for steaks, you want to cut where the muscle fiber may be running this way. You want to cut across the fibers so it's tender. When I looked at that heart, the muscle fibers looked like Nirvana's hair. I mean, it just went everywhere. And it was all twisted and I couldn't tell what's what. So I was expecting that to be tough, but that's very tender. Yeah, that's fork tender. Well, I don't even need that. That's fork tender. There's a little bit of deer game taste in there, but less than any other cut of meat I've ever had. Let me have some fried green beans, cleanse my palate. Green beans are good. But this deer meat, this heart, I mean, I didn't cook very much because I didn't think I would eat very much. I was like, I expected it to be livery tasting. I expected it to be tough. I kind of thought it might be like a duck meat living within a deer's chest, but actually it's not. It's very good. Spear one with a little onion on it. Guys, there's nothing wrong with deer heart. I did not expect this. That's very good. This is not something that I'm going to be like craving, you know, where we got to shoot it somewhere other than the heart. But on an instance like with this deer, all I could see was its neck. And it was close enough that I felt comfortable taking a neck shot. So no organs were destroyed inside the deer's cavity, and it was a good time to pull the heart out whole. And I think the next time I'm in a situation where I can't shoot a deer through the heart or lungs, I think that's what I'll do. I think if it ends up being a neck shot, or maybe it's an accidental, I broke a spine or something, I think I'll try to harvest the heart next time. I'm not going to intentionally shoot away from those vital organs of heart and lungs, but in the rare instance that the heart comes out intact, I by all means plan on pulling it out and eating it again. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn this camera off and cook me some more. Now, I showed you guys kind of in fast forward how I cut it up. And I intentionally dodged the inside walls of those heart chambers just because they felt real tough. And there were some cartilage looking valves in there and some stringy stuff, and I knew that I didn't want that. I could feel it just felt a lot more dense than the rest of the heart muscle, but this is actually very tender. Of course, they're thin sliced pieces, but still yet, slice it thin, fry it quick, throw you some onions in there, a little possum salt if you have it. Pleasantly surprised. It's not amazing, but it's very good. I highly recommend it. If you got a full heart intact and it's nice and clean when you're gutting your deer, go ahead, take the time. Just cut across it. Wash all those chambers out, get all that blood out. I soaked it in salt water overnight in case there was some blood in there I couldn't see. I got all that out. I worked around the chambers of the heart. I left the valves and the veins intact and pulled them aside. I've actually put them in the freezer for catfish bait. And I'm going to eat the rest. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Y'all didn't really think I was just going to eat that little 4 or 5 pieces and call it a day, did you? No, I'm going to finish that whole deer heart off myself. I got to hurry too. The kids will be home from work before too long. My wife will be back from shopping. Oh, who am I kidding? Ain't none of them people going to eat hearts. Alright, I want to thank my sponsors before I close. I want to thank Fitz Preacher Farms. He restores cast iron. He ain't done a video on that yet. Go over and check out Fitz Preacher Farms. He's got a YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description. He restored this little number 5 skillet and gave it to me a couple years ago. I cook cornbread in it all the time. And if you're not subscribed to him, go check out Fitz Preacher Farms. Bob Deaver Customs Knives. They're not cheap. If you want a cheapie, go to Walmart. If you want a real knife, go to Bob Deaver's. He made this one for me. I've got another one by him. Great knives. Couldn't do what I did today without them. So, I want to thank them for the generosity toward me. And I want to thank you guys for watching. And I want to eat deer heart.